Chosen one, the chapter of your life that caused you to live in exhaustion, anxiety, and constant defensiveness is gradually coming to an end. Not so that you will believe there will never be another challenge, but so that you will understand that you no longer have to face life as the fearful person you were yesterday. I know you have heard many comforting words while your circumstances seemed unchanged. I know there were times when you told yourself that everything would eventually become better. Yet, when a new day began, the same old burden was still there, causing you to doubt your own hope. Therefore, I do not want to give you an empty promise or ask you to deny reality. I only want you to pause, look deeply at the road behind you, and recognize one truth. You are no longer the person who first entered that stormy season. What you endured has helped you understand more clearly what must be preserved, what must be released, who sincerely loves you, and where you can no longer remain. That growth is opening the way toward a new beginning. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is mentioned here as a symbol of the courage that has quietly grown within you. Michael does not come to proclaim that every difficulty will immediately disappear, nor does he speak in my place. His image reminds you that some victories are not measured by defeating another person, but by no longer allowing fear to defeat you. You have learned to remain standing before words that once caused you to collapse. You have begun to understand that leaving an argument is not defeat. Establishing boundaries is not selfishness, and forgiveness does not require you to return to a place where the wound is repeatedly reopened. Through each such choice, you have gradually moved beyond the state of merely trying to survive, and closer to a life shaped by awareness, peace, and dignity. I know the most difficult part of the journey was not only the events you experienced, but their repetition. You once hoped that a relationship would change, yet you continued hearing the same promises and receiving the same familiar disappointment. You tried to change your work, circumstances, or habits, but after a time, you found yourself returning to the same circle. This caused you to believe that perhaps life had already been determined this way, and that you lacked the strength to escape. But look back fairly. Today, you recognize many things you once overlooked. You know the signs of disrespect. You understand how an impulsive decision can lead to long-term consequences. You recognize the exhaustion that comes when you continually say yes to everyone without listening to your own limits. This understanding is what will keep you from repeating every lesson in the same way. When I say that a cycle is closing, I am not saying that every memory will immediately disappear or that your heart will never ache when you remember. Closure does not mean complete forgetfulness. It means that what happened is no longer permitted to determine every reaction, relationship, and future choice. You may remember someone without returning to them. You may acknowledge that you were treated unfairly, without allowing that injustice to make you hate the entire world. You may grieve an opportunity that was lost while still opening your heart to another direction. This is true freedom. The past remains part of your story, but it no longer holds the pen that writes everything that follows. There were nights when you stayed awake for a long time and wondered how much longer you would have to endure. You tried to find a cause, a mistake, or something you had not done well enough to explain the repeated difficulties. Many times, you turned disappointment inward and blamed yourself, thinking that if you had been wiser, stronger, or more discerning, perhaps everything would have been different. I want you to stop treating your former self with cruelty. At that time, you could make decisions only according to the understanding and strength you possessed. This does not mean every choice was right, but you can accept responsibility without hating yourself. Admit what needs to be admitted, apologize if you hurt someone, and change through action. Then permit yourself to move forward. Genuine repentance must lead you toward a better life, not imprison you forever within a room of shame. I also know you once believed perseverance meant enduring until everything changed on its own. But some places do not change, merely because you remain long enough. Some people do not mature merely because you love them deeply enough. Some circumstances do not become healthy merely because you continue sacrificing. Perseverance must walk with wisdom. Sometimes you need to remain in order to fulfill a responsibility, but sometimes you need to leave in order to protect the goodness still remaining within you. Do not regard every goodbye as failure. Some endings acknowledge that you have learned enough from one part of the journey and no longer need to keep paying for it with your peace. Leave without revenge, slander, or bitterness. Keep the lesson, lay down the burden, and move forward calmly. You are being invited to leave behind a way of living that continually expects the worst. I know that years of anxiety trained you to prepare for loss, even when something good had just appeared. When someone treats you kindly, you wonder what they want. When an opportunity opens, you immediately think of every way it might fail. When life becomes temporarily quiet, you fear another storm is approaching. These responses once helped you protect yourself, but now they may prevent you from receiving what is healthy. I am not asking you to become naive or trust everyone blindly. I want you to learn to be cautious without closing yourself, observant without distrusting everyone, and open-hearted one step at a time according to the consistency of actions rather than words alone. Recovery is not a period in which you sit still and wait for everything to be placed into your hands. It is the time when you relearn how to live after a long season of merely defending yourself. You need to practice resting without feeling useless. You need to care for your health without calling it selfishness. You need to build small but stable habits because a better future is not created only through emotional moments. It is formed when you awaken and do what needs to be done even when no one applauds. Organize your time, fulfill your responsibilities, manage what you possess, and seek assistance when something exceeds your ability. Eat well, rest, move your body, and give your mind the quiet spaces it needs. I do not want you to call exhaustion devotion while continuing to neglect yourself. You also need to learn how to receive joy without guilt. After fighting for so long, you may feel unfamiliar with life. When things become lighter, you may wonder whether you deserve peace or feel that you must remain busy to prove your value. But you were not created only to endure. You have the right to enjoy a simple meal, an honest conversation, a quiet morning, and the presence of those who love you. Gratitude does not make you forget those who are struggling. It helps you value what you have and use it to encourage others. Allow yourself to laugh without fearing that joy will be taken away. Be present within the goodness you possess instead of allowing fear of the future to steal today. New opportunities may appear when you are ready to see them through different eyes. There are things you did not recognize before because you were too busy protecting yourself from pain. There may have been healthy relationships you overlooked because they did not create the intense excitement you associated with familiar chaos. There may be work, a skill, or a direction you once considered too small, yet it could become a stable foundation. Do not despise a humble beginning. Lasting things often grow slowly, quietly, and without display. Evaluate an opportunity by the qualities it nurtures within you. Does it help you become more honest, responsible, and peaceful? Does it agree with the good values you desire to preserve? If so, prepare and move forward humbly. I know you long to hear that a guaranteed reward awaits you after all the years you endured. But I do not want you to regard suffering as an investment that forces life to repay you through wealth, status, or success. Good things may come, but the deepest value you receive is not found in possessing more than others. It is the ability to live without being controlled by the past, recognize sincere love, say no to what is unhealthy, and remain kind without losing your boundaries. If more opportunities are given to you, use them wisely. If what you desire still requires time, continue building yourself. Growth is never useless because you carry it into every room, relationship, and decision that follows. Do not make those who hurt you the center of the new chapter. Perhaps you hope that one day they will see you happy and feel regret. I understand that feeling, but if all your effort is intended to prove them wrong, then they are still determining your direction. Succeed because you want to use your abilities well, not because you want to embarrass someone. Heal because you want to love more healthily, not because you want to display that you no longer need them. Live peacefully because peace is right for you, not because you want another person to become jealous. The new chapter truly begins when you no longer need people from the past to witness or validate your transformation. My beloved child, there were nights when you sat alone within the silence and wondered whether all your effort was leading anywhere. You waited for an answer, a clear sign, or a change large enough to prove that the months of endurance were not meaningless. Yet before you there seemed to be only one similar day following another. You awakened, did what needed to be done, carried responsibilities you could not put down, and then returned to the same thoughts. When night arrived, sometimes you became so weary that you no longer wanted to explain to anyone that you were not well because you had tried to speak before and felt that very few people truly understood the weight you were carrying. I saw the times when you wiped away your tears before going outside and took a deep breath, so that you could continue caring for others, even while you also needed care. I know you wished someone would recognize that perseverance and tell you that you had done enough. Today, I want to say this to you. Your quiet steps have meaning, but you do not need to continue proving your strength by enduring everything alone. The perseverance that kept you standing is not a debt requiring life to immediately repay you with success, money, or perfect circumstances. Its value lies in what was built within you through every difficult day. You learned what truly matters when many things you depended upon began to shake. You discovered that you could survive rejection without losing all your worth, pass through separation while retaining the ability to love, and fail in a plan without becoming a failure. These realizations did not come easily. They were formed when you had to confront yourself during periods without applause, guarantees, or sometimes anyone to lean upon. I do not call pain good, nor do I want you to believe. You must thank those who treated you unjustly. But I want you to recognize that although those things should not have happened, they still cannot prevent you from reclaiming meaning from your journey. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, stands as an image, reminding you that freedom is not always a door suddenly opening outside you. Often, it begins when a quiet chain is removed from your thoughts. You no longer believe every label others place upon you. You no longer treat disrespect as the price of receiving love. You no longer feel that you must remain within circumstances that exhaust you merely to prove loyalty. Through Michael's image, I want you to remember the courage required to preserve what is right, establish boundaries, speak the truth calmly, and leave cycles that are no longer healthy. Protection does not make you closed. It helps you open your heart in the right places, give trust gradually, and refuse to let your kindness become a reason for others to exploit you. The burden you carried was never meant to become your identity. You have carried it for so long that sometimes you can no longer distinguish true responsibility from what you are carrying for others. You tried to repair everyone's emotions, resolve consequences for which they refused responsibility, and keep every relationship peaceful even when you were the only person sacrificing. I want you to begin putting down what does not belong to you. You can love someone without performing the work they must do. You can care about their pain without permitting them to pour every expression of anger upon you. You can help within your ability without allowing that help to destroy your health, time, and peace. Kindness does not require you to become a place people can enter, take everything, and leave without respect. When you begin putting down these burdens, you may feel guilty. You became accustomed to being called the strong one, the person who was always available, and the one who could bear more than everyone else. Therefore, when you say that you also need rest, some people may become disappointed or say you have changed. Yes, you are changing, but that change does not make you selfish. You are learning to love without erasing yourself. You are understanding that if you continue giving from a place that is completely empty, your kindness will eventually turn into exhaustion, anger, and resentment. Rest when you need rest. Say no when a request exceeds your limits. Allow others to take responsibility for their choices. You do not abandon someone by ceasing to rescue them from every consequence. Sometimes this is how you respect their ability to grow. The echoes of the past may still return. A song, a place, a statement, or an apparently ordinary day may suddenly take you back to an old feeling. When this happens, do not think that you have lost all your progress. A returning memory does not mean you are returning to the former place. It simply shows that a part of you still needs to be heard and cared for. Pause, breathe slowly, and remind yourself that the moment has passed. You are no longer as powerless as you were before. You possess greater understanding, can seek help, have the right to establish boundaries, and can choose your response. Do not fight the memory through hatred. Look upon it as you would a scar. It tells you that you were once wounded, but it also proves that the wound is no longer open as it once was. Healing is not the complete erasure of memory, so that you never feel anything again. If you believe you must forget everything before being considered peaceful, you will continually disappoint yourself. Healing means that you can remember without being carried away. You can mention what happened without reliving every feeling from that time. You can encounter a similar circumstance without assuming the result will certainly be the same. You can recognize danger signs without believing everyone is suspicious. This is the difference between being taught by the past and being controlled by it. I want you to keep the lesson without continuing to wear fear like clothing every day. You are also no longer defined by what you endured. You were betrayed, but you are not someone destined to be betrayed forever. You were rejected, but rejection is not your name. You stumbled, but you are not only your mistakes. When you continually tell the story of your life through what others did to you, you unintentionally give them too much space within the present. Tell the story differently. You were wounded, but still learned how to love. You lost direction, but found wisdom. You once did not know how to establish boundaries, but now you are learning to protect your peace. What happened is part of the story, but what you choose afterward is the part that will shape the direction ahead. I know you lived in survival mode for so long that peace sometimes feels unsafe. When no immediate problem appears, your mind begins searching for something to worry about. When a person treats you kindly and consistently, you may suspect that they are hiding something. When your work becomes temporarily stable, you wait for an unexpected disruption. You became so accustomed to tension that relaxation feels unfamiliar. Be patient with yourself. You do not need to force your body and mind to immediately believe that everything is safe. Teach yourself gradually that an ordinary day is not the silence before disaster. A gentle conversation does not necessarily conceal harmful intentions. Someone who repeatedly keeps their word may gradually receive more trust. Safety is built through consistent experiences, not by forcing yourself to trust immediately. The new season may initially be very quiet. It does not necessarily arrive through a great event that everyone can see. The change may simply be that you sleep a little better, stop checking messages from the person who left, or know how to end an argument before words cross a boundary. Perhaps you begin saving money consistently, finish work you delayed, or care for your health more seriously. Perhaps you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to those determined to misunderstand. These things appear small, but they clearly demonstrate that you are living by new principles. Do not wait for a day when everything is perfect before acknowledging your progress. Growth often arrives so quietly that only when you look back do you recognize how far you have traveled. The road ahead is meant for the person you are becoming, and therefore it requires choices that agree with this new maturity. If you desire a peaceful life, you cannot continue feeding conversations filled with jealousy, complaint, and disrespect. If you desire a healthy relationship, you cannot remain attracted only to excitement while ignoring consistency, responsibility, and respect. If you desire greater financial stability, you need to honestly examine your spending habits, make a plan, and learn to manage what you possess. If you want others to trust you, you must keep your word even in small matters. The new is not given only for your enjoyment. It also invites you to become more responsible with what you receive. I do not want you to enter the future feeling that you must continually prove your strength. Mature strength knows when to ask for help. It is not ashamed to admit that some problems require experience, professional knowledge, or support from a community. You are not weak because you need someone to listen. You do not lack faith because you need advice. You have not failed because you cannot resolve everything alone. Some burdens become lighter only when you stop hiding them. Choose someone trustworthy who respects your story and does not use your vulnerability to control you. Receiving the right support does not diminish your value. It gives you more strength to remain standing. When you experience peace, do not immediately sabotage it merely because it feels unfamiliar. Some people unconsciously return to chaos because at least they know how to live within it. A healthy relationship may feel boring if you were accustomed to dramatic arguments followed by emotional reconciliation. Stable work may make you suspicious if you lived through constant upheaval. But not everything quiet is meaningless. Lasting love usually does not force you to wonder each day whether you are valued or abandoned. A healthy environment does not require you to continually fight to protect your dignity. Learn to recognize the beauty of consistency, promises that are kept, and people who do not appear only during convenient moments. Even so, I do not want you to declare that old patterns can never return and then stop paying attention. Life may bring you into similar circumstances again, but the difference will be found in how you recognize and respond to them. You may meet another person who does not respect boundaries, but this time you will not ignore the signs for many years. You may experience disappointment in another plan, but you will not use the failure to conclude that you are worthless. You may feel anxious, but you know how to pause, seek help, and refuse to let anxiety decide every action. Not every lesson disappears from life. Sometimes it returns so that you can see how much you have grown. You do not need to fear this. You can face it with tools, experience, and discernment you did not possess before. Forgive those who caused you to live within painful patterns. Forgiveness does not make their actions right, erase responsibility, or require you to restore them to their former place. It is simply the decision to stop allowing resentment to consume days that could otherwise be used for living. You may create distance, refuse contact, or clearly state your boundaries without nurturing the desire for retaliation. Return to them the responsibility for their actions, and reclaim responsibility for your own peace. When a memory makes you angry, acknowledge the emotion, but do not allow it to choose for you. You have the right to feel pain, but you also have the right not to turn pain into your direction. Forgive yourself for the times you returned to what you knew was unsuitable, hoped another person would change longer than necessary, or ignored your inner voice merely to preserve a relationship. You do not need to punish yourself to prove that you learned the lesson. Prove it through new choices. When you see an old sign, do not rationalize it. When you feel yourself gradually losing peace, pause and examine the situation. When someone changes only through words, while their actions remain the same, trust what you observe. Self-forgiveness becomes meaningful when it helps you live more wisely, not when it is used to continue repeating the same decision. Now courageously step out of the role of someone who only knows how to endure. You are not born to wait each day for something bad to happen. You have the right to build a life in which love walks with respect, work walks with rest, and kindness walks with boundaries. Release the negative words you repeatedly spoke about yourself. Stop calling yourself someone who always fails, always chooses incorrectly, or can never change. Those words were formed through pain, but they are not unchangeable truth. Replace them with words that are more honest. You made mistakes but can learn. You were weak but are becoming stronger. You lost many things but still possess the ability to build. Michael reminds you to preserve courage while entering what is unfamiliar. And I want you to preserve gentleness, so that courage does not become hardness. You do not need to fight the entire world. You only need to remain faithful to the good things you have learned. Speak kindly without becoming dishonest. Help without exhausting yourself. Love without sacrificing your dignity. Succeed without making success an instrument of revenge. When others doubt you, you do not need to argue. Continue living consistently. When they recognize you, be grateful but do not become dependent. Your value does not increase through praise or disappear through misunderstanding. My beloved child, this is the time for you to move from endurance into growth, from merely trying to survive each day into building days worth living. Do not wait until you feel completely ready. Begin with the smallest thing within your ability. Complete one responsibility, organize one corner of your living space, make a necessary call, rest at the proper time, or leave a conversation that creates anxiety. Every good choice is one stone placed upon the new road. No single stone creates the entire path, but without them, you will remain standing and looking toward the place you desire to reach. Move forward with gratitude. Not because everything that happened was good, but because those experiences could not completely take away the hope within you. Give thanks for the people who remained when you felt weak, for the lessons that taught you to value peace, and for the opportunity you still possess to begin again. When you remember the past, look upon it with compassion rather than shame. When you think of the future, preserve hope without forgetting preparation. As you live in the present, remain fully present with the people and things that are genuinely beside you. I do not promise that you will never encounter another difficult day, but I remind you that you no longer need to enter that day in the old way. You know how to pause, breathe, reflect, and seek assistance. You understand that tears do not take away strength, rest is not surrender, and one closed door does not end the entire journey. Carry these truths with you. They are the lasting part that no one can take away. Now let your heart become still. You do not need to hurry to become a completely new person in one night. Each day, choose to live a little better. Return one fewer time to what wounds you, and protect your peace one more time. Speak one fewer word of self-condemnation, and take one more corrective action. Carry one less resentment, and offer one more sincere expression of gratitude. Forgive others, so that you are no longer bound to their behavior. Forgive yourself, so that you possess enough strength to continue. Believe that peace is not something unfamiliar that you need to fear, but the place you are learning to return to. I will accompany you through this process, patiently walking with every gradual step until you realize that the fire of the past no longer surrounds you. You have stepped out carrying wisdom, courage, and a heart still capable of love. From there you can build a future that is not determined by what wounded you, but shaped by kindness, responsibility, faith, and the good choices you faithfully make each day.